My name is Daryl Davis. I'm 61 years of age, born in Chicago. My parents were U.S. Foreign Service officers, and I spent a lot of time living overseas. My classes were filled with other kids from other countries. It was like an international school. But when I would return home here, I was either in all black schools or black and white schools. And there was not the amount of diversity in my classroom. And racism was something that was very foreign to me. In fact, I'd never even heard the term. My first racist experience, it was 1968, and I was 10 years old. I was one of 2 black kids in the entire school, and many of my friends were members of the Cub Scouts. So I joined the Cub Scouts. It was a lot of fun, and we had a parade, and my den mother had let me carry the American flag. Everything's going along smoothly, and then I was suddenly being hit, with bottles and soda pop cans and rocks and just, I guess, debris from the street. Now, because I had no precedent for this kind of behavior, I just assumed that the Scouts were under attack. Those people who don't like the Scouts. I did not realize that I was the only Scout under attack. For the first time in my life, my mother and father sat me down and explained to me what racism was. My 10-year-old brain could not wrap itself around the idea, and I thought my parents were lying to me. On April 4th, that same year, 1968, Martin Luther King was assassinated.
Martin Luther King was shot and was killed tonight in Memphis.
Every major city burned with violence and destruction, all in the name of racism. And it was then that I realized my parents had not lied to me. This thing called racism does exist, but I didn't understand why. How can you hate me when you don't even know me? 51 years, I've been looking for the answer to that question.
I woke up dreaming of your
I graduated in 1976 and went on to Howard University, where I majored in music. Music had become my profession, but studying race relations had become my obsession. And I educated myself about black supremacy, white supremacy, anti-Semitism, the Ku Klux Klan, the Nazis in Germany, the neo-Nazis over here. I had more knowledge as to how these groups operate. And then country music had made a resurgence in our country. So I joined a country band. I was the only black person in the band, usually the only black person wherever we played. And there was a bar in Frederick, Maryland, my first time in there. I came off the stage on break, and I felt somebody put their arm around my shoulder. And I turned around, and there was this white gentleman. Man, I really like your all's music. I said, thank you, I appreciate that. I shook his hand, and he wanted to buy me a drink. And he clinks my glass and cheers me. And then he says, this is the first time I ever sat down and had a drink with a black man. And I said, why? And at first he didn't answer me. He looked down at the tabletop, and his buddy elbowed him and said, tell him. He looked back at me casually, and he said, I'm a member of the Ku Klux Klan. The guy gave me his phone number, and he wanted me to call him anytime I was to return to this bar with this band, because he wanted to bring his friends, meaning Klansmen and Klanswomen, to see this black guy play piano like Jerry Lee Lewis. Music is a wonderful thing. It brings people together. It brought a Klansman together with a black guy. After that, it dawned on me, Daryl, the answer to your question that's been plaguing you, how can you hate me when you don't even know me? Who better to ask than someone who would join an organization that has over 100-year history? of practicing hating people who do not look like them and people who do not believe as they believe.
My name is Scott Shepard. I'm 59 years old. I was born and raised in Indianola, Mississippi. I came from a very dysfunctional family. My dad was a very violent alcoholic. I had low self-esteem. I didn't like myself. I didn't like anyone, actually. I had a lot of anger in me. I was looking for just a place in life, something. And actually, the main thing I guess I was looking for was love, because I didn't feel that at home. The racial atmosphere was very tense due to the civil rights movement. It was one of those cities, railroad tracks that run through the middle of town. Whites lived on one side and blacks lived on the other. From my years of 17 on up, I was involved with not just the Ku Klux Klan, but other white supremacist groups, where as soon as I took the oath, I had an immediate feeling of importance. I spent very close to 20 years of my life in the white supremacist movement. I had this little bitty voice in the back of my head all the time. I mean, from day one, wondering, saying, do you really believe the things that you're doing? My mother was not racist. My dad was not racist. In fact, I was raised by a black lady. She actually worked for my grandmother. My mother was adopted. I loved her, and she loved me. She loved my entire family, and all that was still in the back of my mind. I was starting to realize, what I was doing was wrong. I had no friends. I did even contemplate suicide. I was very depressed, and in that dark period of not knowing what to do.
We should have been talking about this kind of thing for a long time and bringing some kind of understanding about the racial divide. I
reached out to Daryl after seeing him on television. Daryl just popped into my life. Just the actions of him responding, I started feeling better inside, and I started having just a little bit of hope. Daryl extended his hand and actually just extended his heart too, and when we became brothers. And I withdrew from the race. Daryl saved my life, really, because I had lost relationships with my family. One of my twin boys started picking up on the things that I was doing inside the Ku Klux Klan, and I'm very fortunate that I got out or changed my life before my son got involved. Our relationships became positive again, and then I was able to start developing another relationship with my daughter, and I'm able to visit with my granddaughters. I didn't even know them, but we got a great relationship with them now. I learned a lot from Daryl. We found a lot of things in common, and I mimicked Daryl to try to do the same thing and try to help some of these people that are involved. If it wasn't for Daryl, I'd still be stuck in that hole not knowing what to do, and I couldn't help anyone.
How do you feel today, a black man holding this robe and hood?
Well, actually, I no longer need that. I no longer need that robe and that hood to feel powerful for where I'm at now. It means a lot to me that you have the robe because of the relationship that you and I have built. I gave up something that really made me feel important and made me feel like I was someone, and I gave it to you. I don't need it anymore. I gave up that life.
You are not this person?
I am not that person anymore. I don't miss that robe at all. And not only does it mean a lot to me, it means a lot to my family too. And you are our family too. I don't know what I'd do without you.
We are a family. And this family is one that's going to last.
You bet it is.
Oh, you know it is.